I bowed down to this lotus feet with great care and attention. And this Narottam Das Thakur is telling his own mind. It is through the grace of the spiritual master that we cross over this material existence and obtain Krishna. This is given by Narottam Das Thakur in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Narottam Das Thakur was a very great Acharya in the lineage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared in Bengal and he mostly spoke and spread Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhakti in Bengal. I will go more through his life in some other day. But the reason I brought about this topic here is, in the previous session, we discussed for a long time, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta, that is Prapadyeta, what is the meaning of taking shelter of the Guru? And as part of this taking shelter of the Guru, we also went through some of the qualities here that as disciple should not be having. There are many, these are the qualities given in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, a book by Sanatan Goswami, who's also mostly serving in Bengal initially, and then he went to Vrindavan, an ardent disciple and follower of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has given these qualities here. And today we are going to talk about the Guru, the qualities of the Guru. And the reason I'm going back and forth between the qualities of the Guru and the qualities of the disciple is that a true disciple is one day going to become a Guru. So the qualities of the disciple are also nothing but the qualities of the Guru. Or put it differently, a disciple gets those qualities, these the not of these qualities or the negative of these qualities. These are all qualities which a devotee shouldn't be having or a disciple shouldn't be having, and a disciple overcomes these qualities by meditating on the lotus feet of the spiritual master and following in his footsteps. What does it mean to meditate on the lotus feet of the spiritual master? To come to that understanding, let us go a little bit more into detail. Some of the qualities which a disciple shouldn't be having here are, I want to focus on those in blue color. We focused on those in red color in the previous week, and now today over some of them in the blue color. A devotee should never, I'm going from the bottom, should never inflict pain on others, and more particularly a disciple of the spiritual master. And then he should never be fallen from his vow. That is item number 17 and item number 16. Although ignorant, one should never pretend to be a scholar and one should not be proud. These qualities in and of itself do not help a person to receive Divya Gyan. Divya Gyan means transcendental knowledge from the Guru. And they don't help us to get Krishna's mercy. In our life, we often find that most of the people in this world proclaim themselves, hey, I'm a great spiritual follower because I have so much knowledge of the scriptures. I can quote this, I can quote that, etc. They can take scriptures from here, scriptures from there, quote their learning. But the disciple is not interested in quoting an accomplishment of knowledge. The disciple is more interested to use that knowledge for his upliftment and for the upliftment of others. And that is why a devotee or a disciple always feels, I am ignorant. And what I am ignorant because I am unable to get over the shackle of life of birth and death. I am ignorant because I am unable to get true Krishna Prema. If I really had that knowledge, whatever I have learned, it should be manifest in me, but it is not yet manifest in me. This indicates there is still ignorance within me. So a true disciple actually feels I am really ignorant. There is false ignorance thinking, oh, I have come to study only till 5th standard or 5th grade. I have studied till 10th standard. I have studied only bachelor's degree. I studied in science stream. I don't know anything about commerce. I'm ignorant about commerce, etc., etc. Those are superficial ignorance. The true ignorance is where we cannot align our mind and our conscious intentions. When we cannot align our mind and conscious intentions, then what happens? There may be knowledge at the level of the mind, but it has not gone into action, which means we are actually not convinced about the knowledge that we have. So Narottam Das Thakur therefore says here in this verse, Jahara prasade bhai e bhavat thuriya jai, Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoite. In order to align this mind with our conscious intentions, which I can, for the sake of simplicity, call it as heart, our Ichcha Shakti. Our heart has the basis for what we like. I mean, it is through our heart that we express, I like this, I like that, etc. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur says, Jahara prasade bhai e bhava turiya jai. It is not by reading multiple books. It is not by the dint of our intelligence that I am going to get the desire to have Krishna Prapti. He says, the Guru's Yahara Prasade Bhai, through his mercy alone I can get it. And he's sincerely saying it. And if you look at the life of Sri Narottam Das Thakur, he, was superbly erudite, superbly qualified, and yet he was praying out of his own humility that I need the mercy of the spiritual master. I'd like to narrate one thing, not just about Narottam Das Thakur, but of one of his disciples called Ganganarayan Chakravarti. Sri Narottam Das Thakur, he learned under Jiva Goswami. And the Jiva Goswami, who was an Acharya again in the lineage of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's direct disciples were some of them, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami trained Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami trained three very prominent acharyas. One of them was Narottam Das Thakur. And he sent Narottam Das Thakur to Bengal from Vrindavan, saying, we have, me and my predecessor acharyas have composed literature, which are the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please distribute it in Bengal. And so Narottam Das Thakur went to Bengal, and there he saw Ganganarayan Chakravarti, who was born in a Brahminical caste. Narottam Das Thakur was not born in a Brahminical caste. And so when Narottam Das Thakur went back to Bengal and he was speaking about these sacred literature, I'm not sure about his caste. It could be a Vaishya or a Shudra caste, but somehow it was not the highest caste of those days in the 1500, I think it was the 1600s, 1600s. So when he started speaking about sacred literature, everybody said, who is this person who's not a Brahmana, who is speaking about all this sacred literature? So those who actually criticized him that way, they were proud of their birth, they were proud of their learning. And Narottam Das Thakur didn't mind it. So he nonetheless, he met Ganganarayan Chakravarti, who was a Brahmana by birth, and just with a few words, he was able to convince about the superlative benediction given by the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was the pristine teachings of the Vedic literature. And Ganganarayan Chakravarti became his ardent disciple. Along with Ganganarayan Chakravarti, there was one more Brahmana by name Ramachandra. Both of them became disciples of Narottam Das Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur didn't see them as disciples. Narottam Das Thakur saw them as his own friends. In fact, there are songs where Narottam Das Thakur has written that he sorely misses the company of Ramachandra, just like one friend misses the company of another friend. Anyways, it so happened that as the word spread that Brahmins disciples, that Narottam Das Thakur is getting Brahmin disciples, it is something like religious conversion in these days, etc. So which makes the headlines, the government gets into action, etc. In the same way, the local king, not like a big king, but a small king, he also got to know about it. And his ministers very much protested against what was happening. They said, this is the breakdown of social norms. Brahmins are supposed to be Brahmins, Shudras are supposed to be Shudras, one is not supposed to interact with the other in this way, etc., etc. They didn't have the right understanding of the Vedic literature at that point in time. That was okay. But so the king said, what do you want me to do? And these scholars and these brahmanas said, we have to put an end to it. So let's go and challenge this Narottam Das Thakur to a debate. And everybody from the capital to the village where Narottam Das Thakur was present got to know about this. So then Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra, they felt that our Guru is such a great person. He is doing sadhana of Radha and Krishna, and not just sadhana like us. He's a pure devotee. Why should he bother about this? Let us represent our Guru and not give botheration to him for all such things. So as the army and the cavalry and all the other things came along with this, these two scholars, the king with his retinue and these two scholars, they came to the village. Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra posed themselves as, like simple merchants. One was a pan seller, and the other, I think, was like a potter, something, one of these two. They both, at least one was a pan seller. So as this retinue of the king came to the village, they both stopped, both the kings. They dressed themselves as simple folks. They stopped the retinue of the king and the scholars and said, hey, where are you going? And they asked this question in Sanskrit, not in Bengali. And the scholars were surprised that here there is this ordinary panwala fellow who's speaking in Sanskrit. So they said, no, we are going to meet Narottam Das Thakur. And we said, they said, oh, we are just, these ordinary people here. We have heard Narottam Das Thakur speaking. What do you want to speak to him about? So they said that, okay, we want to speak to him about this philosophical aspects that he's speaking. And Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra, they began to converse with them on philosophical aspects. And gradually, it so happened that the scholars began to understand that what Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra were speaking is a true philosophy. And they had no arguments against it. At that point, the king said, you look, I mean, these are two people. One is a panwala fellow, another is an ordinary person here, and both are anyway ordinary. If the disciples and those who just hear Narottam Das Thakur are like this, what do you think will happen to you if you actually go to Narottam Das Thakur? And the scholars agreed, yes, I think we have to give due credit to Narottam Das Thakur. And they left. So the point that I want to bring about here is Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra didn't feel any pride in their background. Rather, out of humility, they tried to serve Narottam Das Thakur, saying that what is it that I can do to relieve the time and help increase the glory of my spiritual master? This is the way one has to be not proud. People often don't know what does it mean to be not proud. Not being proud means that whatever I am is because of my spiritual master. And because of my because I took shelter of the spiritual master, Shri Guru Charana Padma, I am able to receive some Divya Gyan and I'm able to practice it. The credit goes to the spiritual master. That is the meaning of not being proud. And in that mood, one tries to glorify and make the fame of the spiritual master be spread across the world. That's the meaning of not being proud. Okay. With this, I'll end here. I took a lot of time. We'll continue on this theme for the rest of this week. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.